Oh, wait. Before we move on, okay, I have a problem with this narrative. Let's say you are indeed claiming is correct and this nation was founded on white supremacy and Trump was the evil dictator you claimed him to be. Wouldn't speech like this and other socialist forums on Twitch be squashed without discrimination? Well, so Havar transfer agreement. Um, so Trump being a fascist is a separate discussion. Um, our nation was indeed founded on white supremacy. How can you deny that when like we literally like the most of the founders were literal slave owners who owned people as property. Like, come on now, my dude. Come on, now, my dude. What are you doing? Like, uh, but on the other hand, the fact that Donald Trump is a fascist doesn't mean that like he has power. Like, do you think like a neo-Nazi on the street is not a fascist because they aren't like a politician? No, they're still a fascist. They just don't have the power to do what they would like to do. Um, the same is true with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has talked about wanting to chill free speech in this nation, arrest the free press. He's talked openly about doing that. He's called the press the enemy of the people, calling back to what literal fascists called for in Nazi Germany. He just lacks the power to enforce those things. So like, yeah, it's not that complicated to figure out. Yeah, he's a fascist. He just because of our system, because our aged decrepit institutions still function on a very basic level, he hasn't been able to do the things he would otherwise want to do. Like, do I need to remind you that he was calling for like the arrests of his political opponents prior to the election? Do I need to remind you that he was calling for the election to not be held this year as per the Constitution? Just because he doesn't have that ability doesn't mean that he's not a fascist. Um, Now, the vast majority of slave owners prior to the Civil War were Jews. Jews are not white. Um, I'm going to point you again to how that doesn't affect my initial point. Like, the majority of the founding fathers of the United States of America weren't Jewish. They they were agnostic and Christian, and I need to also point out again that they were all slave owners. So when you say that the country wasn't founded on white supremacy, that's just a literally flawed topic to get you to this point where you can claim that it was just the Jews who owned slaves, which is objectively not true. You didn't say that? No, that is what you said. You said the vast majority of slave owners prior to the Civil War were Jews. Yeah, and that's not what we were talking about, my dude. We were talking about the founding of this country. You realize between the founding of the country and the Civil War is like 100 years. So you jumped ahead 100 years to be able to make a claim that I don't really feel necessary to verify because I know it's bullshit. There were tons of Christians who owned slaves. That's literally why we had a whole type of like apologetics dedicated to justifying slavery under Christianity. You brought up slavery. You didn't correct me because again, the founding fathers owned slaves. Literally the people who founded our country owned slaves. You're saying that their perspective was not informed by the fact that they owned slaves? Like they owned human beings based on the color of their skin? Because by that point, the transatlantic slave trade had been entrenched for over a century? Like, come on now. You didn't correct me, by the way. That fact is bullshit. You probably got it from, like, I don't know, Stormfront or something. So, Yeah, I mean, like if you want to actually follow up on the point of the nation being founded on white supremacy, I mean, feel free. But when you jump ahead to talk about the Civil War, um, you're dodging the question. Anyway, do you have anything more to say, or are you just gonna throw out more talking points about how Jews run the world secretly? Also, like, you don't have to be mask on. You can just be like a Nazi here. That's fine. Just don't be like spreading your awful Nazi propaganda, okay? You sound triggered. I just want a discussion. Do you wait? Have our transfer agreement? Do you want to call in? We could talk. We could talk about this shit. You want to hop on Discord? No thanks. Oh wait, I thought you wanted a discussion. You sound scared, my dude. It's okay. I'm nice. I'm nice. Look, I'm a fellow member of the Goyim, okay? I too I too am a Goyim. We can have this discussion. you don't you don't have to leave, but I just want you to know that your points are bullshit. Like, my dude, I haven't even like had to open my browser to look up anything that you've claimed because you haven't even addressed the basic claims that you brought up. I made a claim about there being white privilege, and you said that if white privilege existed, that and this nation was founded on white supremacy. I said yes, it was, and that yes, and then I explained to you how Donald Trump is still a fascist, even though he doesn't have the power to enact fascism yet. Did he share his source? He posted a link, but I need to remind you that links don't post unless you send them to a mod. You have to whisper a mod, Havar. Also, I'm not triggered. I'm as far from triggered. I'm excited. Like, holy shit. Do you know how excited I get when, like, conservatives come in here and, like, try and rile me up? To me, it's like candy. I'm just like, ooh, let me nom on this argument. Do you know when the Senate will be voting on tomorrow on the bills? Stuppled up. I don't know yet, but that is an interesting question. We're going to talk a little bit about it today. I love to discuss these topics. Well, then come on Discord or like address the argument you made. Most channels ban me by now. I mean, I have a lot of tolerance for discussions. Like, I view people like you coming in as a good way to talk about like, complicated topics that other people don't get. And maybe even if I don't get through to you, I can get through to someone similar to you who might be watching, you know? Yeah, you can whisper a mod that link that you sent, okay? And I'll check it out, okay? Did you ever react to Yeah, Art of Gaming TV. I did that last week. You mean the stimulus that is less than my car payment? Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Oh, Havar's scared of a trans woman. Oh, that's even more sad. What? Are you afraid I'm gonna make you look silly because I'm a tran? My dude, come on now. Gosh.